I'm Lanisha Robinson, your host for Career and Technical Education, #Build a Future. Our goal is to show a variety of the Career and Technical Education, CTE, programs we have within St. Lucie Public Schools. These programs are leading the way directly into the workforce for many of our students. Students are earning industry certifications, participating in state and national competitions from the skills learned directly from their CTE classroom. We at St. Lucie Public Schools take pride in knowing our CTE students are actively closing the skills gap needed in our community. In this episode of Career and Technical Education, #Build a Future, you will meet Chef Calvin Lewis from St. Lucie West Centennial High School and learn how these students are getting the leading edge. All right, we would like to welcome Chef Lewis, all right, and then also we have James Crowhorn and also Katrina Dearman. If you don't mind, can you go around and introduce yourselves, and then what school and what program are you representing today? We'll start with James.
My name is James Crowhorn. I'm from Centennial, and I'm part of the culinary program.
And I'm Katrina Dearman. I'm also part of the St. Lucie West Centennial culinary program.
Chef Calvin Lewis, also from Centennial, and I'm chef instructor.
Okay. So Chef Lewis, you work with the Culinary Arts program at St. Lucie West Centennial High School, all right? So can you tell us how long have you been a teacher?
Teacher, about 27 years, at Centennial, about 15.
All right, and what is your educational background?
I originally taught AP Psych, AP Government, Constitutional Law, and I had a minor in business and a major in political science.
All right, can you give us a little bit more about your background coming from the industry and now teaching in the Culinary Arts program?
Well, for me, I started out years ago coming from a poor background, not having very much monetary pieces in my pocket, so I had to always work. And while I was in college, while I was in high school, always had a job. And one of the jobs that was readily available at the time was always around food. So I started out working in North Palm Beach, Florida at the Marriott, and a little bit at the Red Lobster, and we had another place. It was called a Sweeting House Smorgasbord. So between those three, I started out washing dishes and pots, and moved on. And then I decided I wanted to go to college. Graduated from Palm Beach Gardens High School, went to Atlanta, attended Morehouse College at Atlanta, graduated from there. Had pre-signed for the military, so excuse me, I ended up going to England, lived in England for a few years, and all the time I was in school I was always around food. So eventually I got back, got a job at Jupiter High School, taught there for a while, taught AP Psych there, moved to Fort Pierce Port St. Lucie when I bought my home. And Steve Valencia, a principal at the time at Fort Pierce Central, well, not at Fort Pierce Central, I'm sorry, he was at Forest Grove at the time, said that he didn't have anything in social studies for me, but he noticed on my paperwork that I had some certifications in food. And so he put me in Culinary Arts, and the rest is history.
All right, thank you. Now, with Culinary Arts program, why is this important for students at this level to learn this skill so soon?
Well, Culinary Arts is something that changes all the time. They say if you know someone's food and you know their language, you become a part of them. And I find that to be very true. Students nowadays, the days are fewer now when families get together and have meals. Sometimes it's either Sundays, anniversaries, birthdays, Christmas maybe, but everybody's running different tracks now and don't get to sit down very much. So for a student to take a culinary arts class, it's kind of a mimic of the old home ec, but it's a step higher. I would say even 2 steps higher, where a student can learn how to buy $20 worth of groceries and make it work for the whole week and eat healthy off of $20. It's kind of hard for a regular person to do it because we're creatures of habit, but in culinary arts, we learn how to first be clean. Second, that the #1 cause of foodborne illness is dirty people, how people handle food. So we start highlighting our minds when we walk into a store, when we're dealing with people and we're dealing with food. We get to another level about it. That's one of the positive things it gives to them. And also it makes it where when it comes to what's going into your body, like for instance, one of the perfect examples that might answer this a little quickly is look at microwave popcorn. If you look at microwave popcorn, you'll find out that kids love it and they eat that gooey butter looking stuff, but they don't read the packet. There's about 40 things on that packet that most of my kids can't recognize. We in culinary take a little bit of oil, some corn, some salt and pepper, a little bit of heat, and we make the popcorn. And we enjoy the popcorn because we sat there and saw what went into it. So by taking culinary arts, they understand products. They understand the temperature danger zone. They understand the difference in dirty hands and microorganisms. For another example is a lot of people like to put sanitizer on their hand and they think their hand is clean. No, it's not clean. It's been sanitized. You've killed the microorganisms, but you still got dirt and debris. So for dirt and debris, you need soap and water. So there's a lot of things that they learn that they can use in life. And I haven't had a kid yet that come back that didn't get some out of culinary arts that they're using now. I have 2 good students, one in law and the other one's in some sort of physics at Yale, and one's at University of Florida. And they both tell me now, like, Chef, man, that culinary arts class, we use that every day. That helps so much. So it does help.
Wow. So students going into, regardless of what industry they want to go into in the future, regardless of what program that they want to enter, regardless of what they want to major in, culinary arts does help them.
We all got to eat. And the importance of clean food is so important because there are millions of people get sick every year. You might hear it on television that salmonella breakout here, this breakout there, but what people don't know is foodborne illness mimics a cold. You can be really sick with a bad stomachache and spitting up mucus and all that phlegm, and you feel like, oh God, I got the flu. Most of the time it's not the flu, it's a foodborne illness. And if you don't know what you're looking for, if you don't know, even in the store when you look at meat, you have to know what you're looking at, what the dates are. When you look at milk, you have to know what's perishable, what's non-perishable. You have to look at the flow of food. You buy it as soon as you get it home. You can't throw it on the counter and leave it and go do stuff for hours. You have to put it away quickly. And they learn all of this on a grand scale. So that when they come out to an employee in the community or a restaurant, or they need a part-time job or whatever, my kids have their Safe Staff or their Serve Safe certification. They understand that you're not going to put anything bloody up top and a cake on the bottom. They understand what goes on the top and what goes on the bottom and why. So for us, it's a life skill. I never tell a kid when you take culinary arts, you have to be a chef. I mean, being a chef is hard work, so that has to be something that they've made a decision. But the life skill, the cultural diffusion that they pick up, the understanding of other cultures, the understanding of, because cooking methods are cooking methods. It's just that different cultures use different seasonings, and I always have a culture day. And on culture day, I'll make the kids who bring in a food not touch their own food, but eat somebody else's, and vice versa. So we try to, keep ourselves current with what's going on out there in the food world. We read a lot of articles. If they find articles on television or in the newspaper that talks about food safety, you bring it in, we share it. We're always learning about food. It's what we do.
Okay. All right, well, thank you, Chef Lewis. All right, so now Katrina and James, you all, I understand you all do a lot of hands-on demonstrations, a lot of hands-on skills. Just hearing about what Chef Lewis just mentioned, can you all share some of the hands-on activities that you all do in the classroom? And we'll start with you, Katrina.
Well, we do packets and different lessons that relate to serve safe and food safety, as well as the history of food to give us a foundation that we work on. But I'm assuming that the best part for everyone is the labs. So we go in and we'll cook things and we do our lab groups. So not only are you learning a lot about food, but you're also learning a lot about other people, and our classrooms are sort of diverse. You also learn a lot about different cultures and different foods. And we end up talking a lot about our favorite foods that some of us didn't know exist.
Okay, thank you. All right, and James?
Going off what Katrina was saying, we do a lot of labs, and people in the class are usually like, when's the next lab? Like the bread lab that we did recently, people just wanted to eat the bread as soon as they could, so Friday when we got it, it was just gone. But in March and in December, we're also going to do a culinary competition. And we each have our own thing we're going to do. Like Katrina does gourmet, but I'm going to do edible centerpiece. So I'm learning how to work with different types of fruit, like watermelon, cantaloupe, stuff like that.
So you said edible centerpieces. What do you mean by that? People such as myself, viewing audience, what exactly do you mean by edible centerpieces? And then you mentioned for Katrina, she's doing a whole nother activity. But so let's go back to what you just said. Can you explain that or elaborate a little bit more on that?
Well, the edible centerpiece would be something that you could put in the middle of a table that will catch someone's eye, but it's completely edible. There's nothing you cannot eat or cannot take out easily. There's toothpicks, skewers, watermelon, grapes, stuff like that.
Okay. And then Katrina, you mentioned that you had a specialty that you want to do.
Yeah, I'm working with the gourmet team for the gourmet foods. So I'm working with the dessert, and so we do a different dessert for each of the competitions that we're doing. In December, we're going to the Daytona Invitational, and then in March, we get to go to the Orlando Pro Star competition. And I work with a group of 4 other people, 1 alternate, and 3 other cooks, and they're going to work on the appetizer and the entree.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. We're now going to show you a brief video that was actually made and created by Mr. Newton from Centennial High School and his TV production students.
Calvin Lewis, chef, high school instructor. People that love to cook tend to cook better. This all started for me as a survival skill. Coming from a poor family and working my way up, started out years ago washing pots and dishes first, moved from there to the fryer, from the fryer to the line cook, from the line cook to the head saute. I was at Jupiter High School for years and teaching there, and then built a home up here and started working at Fort Pierce Central. And at the time, the principal here, Ms. Trim, asked me if I would like to run a culinary program, and I said yes. Okay, take out your notes, coffee notes. Picking by hand, lay them out in the sun. Okay, each cherry picked individually by hand. 200 pounds of cherries picked daily is about 40 pounds of roasted coffee. Right now, they've been tested. I've been chosen as Teacher of the Year twice for the state of Florida in Pro Start Culinary Arts. We've one of the teams that have won the state of Florida in the Knowledge Bowl. We were flown to San Diego, California, where we competed in nationals. We got 10th place. We also had 3 girls here win first, second, and third in baking for Skills USA. We've done a little bit of it all. I want to get better all the way to competition. I don't want to have the oral process of application all the way. I want to have good communication all the way. The competition is based on rules that come down from nationals, and then they come to the state level, and then the state level representatives gives us the information. This will be our 16th, 17th year. We've always finished in the top 20. We have certifications that we get. We have a COA, which is a Certificate of Achievement. Centennial had 19 COAs this year. We had 17 last year. The COA means that you mastered both the Red Book and the Blue Book, and then you also passed the exam. We also have Serve Safe, which we had 42 people test last year. We had 39 pass. So we have a high rate of kids who are being certified when they go out into the workforce. My goal always is to give my students survival skills, life skills, not necessarily to become a chef, because a lot of my kids will not become chefs, but it's not necessarily for culinary. Even though it's a culinary class, it's about the science of cooking and the science of surviving.
All right, so thank you. So basically, you all were mentioning as well that you do competitions, you have those hands-on skills that you're taking to the next level. Chef Lewis, you want to elaborate more on that as well with the competitions?
Yeah, we are a certified Pro Start school. The Florida Restaurant Lodging Association, in association with Pro Start, have a program, and they have certain benchmarks that you have to obtain. We have always been a Pro Start school. They came down and they inspected our kitchen and looked at the program years ago and certified us, and it's grown since then, which has helped us grow. We used to do Skills USA. We stopped doing Skills USA there a while back, but this certification that we go through, this to be a Pro Start school, we are what you call a premier school, and that means that we have met all the standards that they ask. We do a survey, 1 or 2 every year, where we have to answer questions about what kids want to do future-wise, because CTE has come all the way back around. They're finding out now that everybody's just not going to be a doctor and a lawyer, and there's other areas that kids are interested in. In Europe, they call them O-level classes, and then they call the classes where you go to medical school and stuff like that A-level classes. But here, the Pro Start program gives our kids an opportunity to compete each year in a top 50 high schools from the state of Florida. Us being a premier school, we get an automatic bid each year because we are a premier school. We do all the surveys, we go to all the workshops, we participate in all 4 categories in the competition. And at the end of the year, we take an exam that says that they have mastered the Red Book, they have mastered the Blue Book, and they've also passed the exam. So it's kind of a tough road, but we decided to do that because the Florida Restaurant Association, in association with the National Restaurant Foundation, they have a good idea of what's going on in the industry countrywide. The government is the #1 employer in the country. Culinary Arts, food management, et cetera, is second. So we're right in there with where the jobs are being created, where new things are coming about. And one thing about computers, they don't take away a lot of jobs in culinary arts like they do in some other professions. I mean, people still cook the food, which is a good thing. But we pair in with that. But getting back to the competition, we do the gourmet meal, where you have 4 kids and 1 manager. They have to create 2 identical entree, starch, veg, appetizer, or soup, and a dessert. They all have to be totally identical. And they take 1 plate, 1 dessert, 1 salad, whatever they decide, give it to the judges, and they take another, put it on a board where people can walk around, big table, put the menu up, they don't give you a name at the competition, they give you a number, put your number there, and then the audience can see what you made. And then the judges take the kids behind a closed door, and they give them critiques, either great or not so great sometimes. And that is the gourmet. Then we have a management team, which 5 kids, 1 manager, 4 participate. They give them a scenario. This is Pro Startville. In Pro Startville, you have 85,000 people, you have 1 university, 4 high schools, 2 elementary, et cetera, and you have the average family makes this much money, and then the kids have to put together a restaurant out of their own mind. That find a location, but they gave them the city called Pro Startville, and they put together the name of it, what they're going to serve, but they give them limitations. You can have 12 items, but you only need to put 3 where you have to food cost it out, and the gourmet meal team, they have to food cost all of their stuff out too. I am allowed to help and kind of guide, but I'm not allowed to do it for them. It's all on them. And so that team will come up with a restaurant from the ground up. Interior, exterior, safety, the fire extinguisher, everything. They'll come up with that themselves. And then you move to the waiters relay, which we got medals in, by the way, last year. We got 4th in the state in the waiters relay, which was really good for us because the competition is top 50 schools. And a lot of the schools that are there traditionally, Eastside, Taravella, Topping Springs, Steinbrenners. There's some schools there with some super culinary programs, 6 to 7 instructors. Centennial, we have myself and Chef Balichak, but we go, and we've been fortunate enough in 2009 to win, and they flew us to California. And then getting back to the competition, last but not least, James, he has to do edible centerpiece. He has to pick cantaloupe, watermelon, honeydew, and he has to make something. It could be flowers, it could be a swan, whatever he decides, and it has to be a 360 where when you walk around it, it looks all connected, and then they'll judge by freehand what type of carving he did, what type of sanitation, did he have his bucket right, was he messy, and what time of year do these products grow, what kind of nutritional value do they have. He'll have to learn all of that because the judges are going to ask him. So every year we do all 4. We've been doing all 4 for, this will be our 15th year.
Wow.
So.
All right, so to add on to that, I mean, you all do so much in the classroom and outside the classroom, all right? But not only that, but you all are actually, you were mentioning earlier, entry certifications, all right? So can you tell me what entry certifications do you have? Because obviously you have to have that to be able to apply it at that level that you all were just discussing, that Chef Lewis just mentioned, all right? So we'll start right here with James, if you can tell me entry certifications that you have earned, all right?
In just culinary, I have earned my Safe Staff, my Serve Safe, and I'm working on my second part of the COA.
Okay, all right, thank you. Serena?
I also have my Safe Staff. We both have the Serve Safe managers, and Chef always makes sure that we have the highest Serve Safe that you can get. And then we have our COA Part 1, and we're working on our COA Part 2, which is the textbook that we're using for this year.
Okay, and you said that Chef Lewis makes sure that you don't just stop right there.
Yeah.
He wants to make sure you get that top certification. Wow, so thank you, Chef Lewis, for doing that for our students.
Yeah, we have our program is taxing. 90 minutes go so quickly. And I try to teach them how valuable their time is, because a lot of days when they're doing the competition, I'm not allowed to come in every day and say, here's what I think. Let's do this, let's do that. Katrina came up with her own dessert she's going to do. James and I looked at some things that would be simple to start with, since he's never done edible centerpiece. You don't want to put a kid on the floor and have him work out of his level of where he is. And like I said to James, if we can do something simple, nice, and stay within the rules, we still got a chance of placing. And I've seen it happen before. But we do homecoming. We do, this year they're having us do food for the tailgating. We're going to Johnson & Wells workshops in November. We got Daytona invited us to their competition, which we got third in last year up in Daytona. And then in March of 2019, we're going to the top 50 high schools. And each year sometimes we do in-school banquets. Like this morning, I went in and set up a continental breakfast for a group that was having a meeting. 2 days ago, Monday, I did a continental breakfast for the principal that was having a meeting. So we try to mimic things that they're going to see in the industry. And a lot of times, I don't want to wear what my experience is on my shoulder. I want them to do it. So I'll just deflate, and I'll try to get as much as I can get out of them all the time. Some of them have figured it out, some haven't, but I just, I'm really proud of my group this year. This looks like a good, strong group. Yeah.
As we can see already.
Yeah.
All right, so with you two, what are your plans after high school? Are you going to use your entry certification? And if so, what are your plans for that?
Okay, I'll start. I plan to go into business, but for using my certification, a lot of jobs that are easy to get when you're in college are generally related to food service. So hopefully I can use those to help pay for college and living expenses as I go through to get my degree.
Okay, very nice. All right, James?
I'm sort of in the same boat as Katrina. After high school, I plan on going to college for electrical engineering and technology, but I can still use the certifications I earn to get jobs to help pay for college.
Okay. So do you feel like with employment skills, do you feel like that's being learned in the Culinary Arts program at Centennial High School, to where you're actually saying that you can use that while you're working your way through college?
Yeah, absolutely. For the first part of the COA, one of the things that we learn how to do is to create a resume and a portfolio and a cover letter. So it teaches you all of the important things that you do for going into an interview that can transcend job guidelines. You don't have to use these professional techniques just for culinary arts. You can use them when you're going in for a job interview, no matter what business or industry you go into.
All right, thank you. All right, and then do you all volunteer currently, like outside of school, like to give back to the community? You want to explain what do you do with volunteering?
I do a lot of volunteer work at my church. I work with the food pantry and help clean up the church. Sometimes I'll set up breakfast, and there's a lot of volunteer work with the children and the elderly.
We do the mustard seed for the homeless every year. We probably have done about 1,800 turkeys over the years. And I'm sure I'll get a call here real soon because it's getting close to that time. This is something we started doing about 7 or 8 years ago. And we do it every year. And it's a pleasure. Sometimes we have kids go out to the actual site and serve, but we always get the majority of the turkeys, bake them, we carve them, and we'll separate dark meat from white meat, put it on both sides in the pan, put the other pieces in there, the bigger pieces in there, cover it, label, date it, put it in the cooler, and the mustard seed ministers will come pick it up, take it out. And we've been doing that for quite some time now. So we do that. And we don't mind doing things in the community. It's just that now the COA, Certificate of Achievement, that they have to have, calls for covering all the chapters in the book, calls for them learning both books. It also calls for them, like she said, learning how to do their cover letters and their resumes. So we're busy both academically and lab-wise, and I try to have a common sense median. I don't want people trying to run all over town being a catering company when we're a high school program. So we will do things for people sometimes, and we've had some good success at that, but we're more or less now focused more on the certifications and the classroom.
I'm Lanisha Robinson, and this is Career and Technical Education, #BuildAFuture. That's all for this show, but we invite you to view our St. Lucie Public Schools Career and Technical Education page. Remember, Career and Technical Education is building career pathways, which are pipelines for all of our students. We are building a future and continuing to close the skills gap. On behalf of the station's team, I'd like to thank you for joining us today.